stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Daily Trudge, where everybody knows my name. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Change the words around a little bit just to fit it. It's a running joke that everybody should know who Dion is. And trust me, it's a joke. Even yesterday, one of our listeners was saying, I'm going into school. So something was happening where they couldn't connect. I'm like, don't they know who I am? Like it fucking matters. Oh, man. 2:00 meeting was good. Thank you for it. You know what's really neat about the grassroots at this point? If I don't sign up to chair, I don't chair. So I gotta get I have to sign it up too. So that's good stuff. But yeah, it was a good meeting. Another person showed up to the in-person through DACA. It was not through the Community Reach Center. So I'm gonna write them today and just. I'm not upset. I knew that we were going to have some growing pains in the beginning. I think there's been a breakdown of communication on who was doing what. But, I think they would let every employee know, hey, we've got an AA meeting going on over here. Let your clients know about it. That's all they really need to do. Because we set the meeting up for their clients. We even made it an open meeting. That one's an open meeting so that anybody can join so we can help whoever walks through the door. And yeah, but if they don't walk through the door, not much I can do. Can't blow HIPAA. I mean, heck, even if some of their employees wanted to join us, be happy to have you. All right. I figured it's the 5th month. Let's talk about Tradition 5. I'm a traditions guy. It is important that we understand the traditions just like we do the steps. We've got to understand the traditions. The traditions are just as important as the steps. Maybe not as fun to study, but there's a lot of information in there that you can use. Trudging together follows the traditions. Yeah. So, welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Let's get to our 12 by 12s, page 150. Actually, I think we just kind of did this. That's all right. We're going to do it again. Michelle says, it will grow. The employees is a good idea. They're going to be like, well, I don't know if the employees can go because there might be a HIPAA violation. Well, it's an AA meeting and we use first names and it's anonymous. So, yeah. But the guy that did show up might be hitting some of our meetings just because people are getting tired of bullshit AA. They're getting tired of it, man. I'm getting messages every day from people in the group saying how they appreciate that we put this together and doing what we're doing. It's a big deal, man. It really is. All right, let's get started. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. And if we are not doing that, then we are doing nothing. Before I get started, what does that mean? What does it mean to carry the message? Kind of want to open the window, but it's getting cold out there. What are you playing with? No, that's not your fucking toy, jerkhole. Yeah, God. Don't cats know? All right. It means that we need to leave our safe, secure home group meetings. I've been saying this a lot because it seems like I go to these groups, they're begging for money. Central office begging for money when the answer's in the frickin' big book. The answer's in Tradition 5 to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Okay? If they have made it to AA, it's too late. I'm glad they made it to AA, don't get me wrong. Okay? But Tradition 5 is not about waiting in the meetings for people to show up. No. We meet people where they're at. And I mean that in a literal sense. Detoxes, hospitals, therapists, doctors, psychiatrists. We call these friends of AA. And I don't know why our central office is refusing to follow through on this, but they are. I just got word. I was just talking to somebody. They're like, yeah, they actually took us off DACA because they said we were violating some traditions. I'm like, well, then we need to shut them down because they're violating traditions. You know? So it's kind of, yeah. All right, let's get started. And I get a little vehement about that because I'm tired of people. I'm just going to take the rest of this off it. But no, okay. You know, aren't you tired of people hearing people? Well, make sure you contribute to the basket. You know, make sure you put in a couple dollars for the basket. Put it in the basket. You know, if the basket is a topic, something's wrong. Something is wrong. All right. One of our bigger clubs, York Street. Not as many people go. I'm getting a lot of complaints about that place. I really am. And it upsets me. It upsets me because if we were following tradition, doing what we were supposed to be doing, those complaints, I mean, and this is beyond. This is beyond. Okay. But if the alcoholic has made it to the meeting, you have missed Tradition 5. Okay. The way sponsorship works. This is how it is described in the big book. You sponsor somebody into AA, somebody from a detox or a hospital, somebody who's looking for help, and then you spend your time with them and you sponsor them into AA. That is sponsorship. That is actually sponsorship. The other part is a closed mouth friend. See, we've gotten things mixed up. Is anybody here willing to sponsor? Or who here is looking for a sponsor? We meet people where they are at, period. I do not determine willingness. I do not determine those things. That is not up to me. That is their choice. Let me check something here real quick. Order, please. Order, please. All right. Just looked like I had something on the end of my nose, like a Pinocchio or something. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message. To carry the message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Shoemaker, stick to thy last. Better do one thing supremely well than many badly. That is the central theme of this tradition. Around it, our society gathers in unity. The very life of our fellowship requires preservation of this principle. Good job, Michelle. I'm glad to hear that. Every professional I run across, I give my information to. Every professional. But I'm in a position where I meet a lot of professionals too. Alcoholics Anonymous can be likened to a group of physicians who might find a cure for cancer, and upon whose concerted work would depend the answer for sufferers of this disease. True, each physician in such a group might have his own specialty. Every doctor concerned would at times wish he could devote himself to his chosen field rather than work with the group. But once these men had hit upon a cure, once it became apparent that only by their united effort could this be accomplished, then all of them would feel bound to devote themselves solely to the relief of cancer. In the radiance of such miraculous discovery, any doctor would set other ambitions aside at whatever personal cost. So how can we apply this to AA? Well, every single person in the group has special skills. We all have certain skills. It just so happens that all my skills can put together AA meetings. Well, I got to do everything from tech to formats to running the timer to making sure it's listed on DACA, that we have a central office delegate. There's a lot of things that need to be done in order to put together an AA meeting. You just don't slap it together. The format was specially written for grassroots. And, I'm getting a little frustrated, and please don't take this wrong. I don't mind that people aren't understanding what grassroots means. It means back to basics. It means going back to a way that worked for us. Okay. I was around in AA in the 90s, and it was standing room only if you were late. Now there's plenty of chairs. AA is way too small for my liking. Okay. But it was a concerted effort. Every single person in that room has a specialty. Yeah. Might be talking, might be reading, might be putting this together. Michelle, you're a great note taker. What are you talking about? There's one of your skills that definitely helps us in our meetings. Yes, it does. Without a secretary in our meeting, we ain't gonna be able to, we're not gonna be able to, we wouldn't be able to know what to do next at the next meeting without the secretary and good notes. Yeah. I suck at notes taking. I tend to memorize most things. It's my dyslexia. Right. So, but yeah, absolutely. Michelle says, thank you for that explanation. Yeah. We all have our different things. So what we do is we give up our personal ambitions to be a part of the whole so that we can help the fellow sufferer. Yep. Just as firmly bound by obligation are the members of Alcoholics Anonymous who have demonstrated that they can help problem drinkers as others seldom can. Okay. There's another difference. There's another difference. Maybe I'm 12th stepping, but I'm not getting through to him. Maybe I'm just not the person. So I asked Michelle, maybe you could give it a try and see what you get. And because it was a different approach and something different, they got through to them. See? It takes a tribe to get someone and keep someone sober. It takes a tribe. It takes a sponsor. It takes closed mouth friends. It takes a good primary care physician. And every alcoholic should be in therapy. That's an opinion only. But I'm right. It's one of those things where I know I'm right. I haven't met an alcoholic yet that didn't need therapy. In my experience, right? So we can help when no one else can. We're the last house on the block. If we can't get through to them, we're at least going to try and plant the seed. Maybe they're not willing yet. That willingness is up to them. I'm going to try it this way and this way first. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you know that I tried that. It didn't work for me. That didn't quite work out for me, man. So I'm going to let you know that it didn't work for me. But here's my number in case you change your mind. And we're going to leave it at that. There's no point pissing the person off. Right? Although there have been times when I've gotten text messages where it's fuck you, Dion, and fuck your program. I'm like, yeah, I got him. Michelle says, I'm working on getting a therapist. Yeah, one thing at a time. You're still working on something. I usually recommend, if you're not already in therapy, wait till you finish the steps and then get into therapy, because then you're going to be able to actually get down to causes and conditions. At that point, you'll be honest. You'll be honest, because see, a therapist can't help you until you're honest. They can't. Nope. And what do we need? We need rigorous honesty, which is an internal thing. You know, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're a little bit newer. They're like, yeah, I told my therapist I was going to AA and stuff. And they were like, I bet their therapist was fucking relieved. Okay, now we know what the problem is. Now they can do something about it. Now they can help them with their alcohol use disorder. They can help them, supply them with the tools that they need to fill in those mental blank spots. If it wasn't for my therapist, I wouldn't be here. I don't think I would be. Without my sponsor, without the groups. All right. The unique ability of each AA to identify himself with and bring recovery to the newcomer in no way depends upon his learning, eloquence, or on any special individual skill. No worries, Amber. Good to see you. This is kind of a weird time for me to do this. I had some time, and I figured reading Tradition 5 was better than sending some emails about what the fuck, man. But if we listen to this, the unique ability of each AA, so we each have a unique ability, and a lot of it is common. What is our unique ability? We've settled the past. Most people in the world don't ever do that. They may go as far as to admit it to their pastor or something like that, but without the ninth step and that justice, what else is that unique ability? Well, maybe you've been sober a week. Well, this person has a day. Well, there's your unique ability. How'd you do it for 7 days? That's a big deal. In fact, somebody with less than a year is probably more likely to get through to a new person than, say, somebody with 9 years, because they're not going to believe me that I have 9 years. When somebody's new, they don't 9 years, whatever. But when somebody's like, I got like 8, 9 months, they're like, okay, that seems a little bit smaller. I can deal with that in my head. Tonight, I'm going to read a short story from this month's Grapevine. It's a story on step 5 for the most part. Then I'll do a short lead. Okay. Oh, it's Wednesday, so you're chairing Night Owls tonight. Okay. When we have our 5 o'clock, if you want to put the Night Owl stuff and post that in chat and stuff, feel free to. I trust you. We need to expand a little bit, let people know that there are other meetings and show that we support AA, not just our meeting and stuff. But if you listen to this, to identify himself with and bring recovery to, what does that mean? That means I'm going to have to leave the house and go somewhere. The newcomer in no way depends on, okay. The only thing that matters is that he is an alcoholic who has found the key to sobriety. That's it. Amber says, I had people ask me to sponsor them, and then when they found out I had less than a year, they said, oh, they'll find somebody with more time. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, time is not a... No. It took me a couple of years to get through the steps, but I was really far gone. A lot of people completed in 3 months, 4 months. Should they sponsor? Yes. Absolutely. Did the requirement to sponsor is completing the steps. Actually, you can start sponsoring once you get to the maintenance steps. According to the big book. Right? The only thing that matters, these legacies of suffering and of recovery are easily passed among alcoholics one to another. This is our gift from God. And its bestowal upon us, upon others like us, is the one aim that today animates AAs all around the globe. All around. See how easy it is for us to go into meetings and share our experience. It's almost natural that me passing on what was freely given to me. It feels natural to me. I enjoy it very much. There is another reason for this singleness. Supporting AA since 2022 maintenance steps. Yeah, 10, 11, and 12. Once you get to 10, you're kind of done with them, because you should have been working 11 and 12 already. I was told that you can work on any step that has a 1 when you come in the program. That's what I was told, and I believe that. I do. What if let's say we had a person that has 4 years of sobriety. They had great sobriety. Something happened. They had a slip. So now they have 1 day. Should that person do a 12th step call? Can that person sponsor? Yes. Think a slip's not the end of the world. A slip doesn't start you back at day 0. What about those 4 years that you fucking put in? Quality, not quantity. Okay? And these are my beliefs. But nowhere in the big book does it say you have to have a certain amount of time or this or that in order to sponsor. It does not say that. Now, experience has taught us a few things, sure. Right? But I follow the big book. Right? So there's another reason. It's the great paradox that you can't keep it unless you give it away. But that shouldn't be our reason. Okay? There's another reason for the singleness of purpose. Is the great paradox of AA, that we know we can seldom keep the precious gift of sobriety unless we give it away. That is the very last reason why I do service work. Sure, it's a paradox. In the beginning, it was great. It helped me stay sober. It kept me away from certain things. But now I do service work because I enjoy it. And that's the number one reason. Because I enjoy helping other people. I love it more than anything else in this world. Aside, my wife and kids and all of you and God and right. But my recovery encompasses a lot of things. Claire and I were just hanging out, and I told her that I do so much service work that I can let go. Hey, you want to read the big book today? Go ahead. Because I'm probably timing or co-hosting. I'm probably doing something already. Right? And I don't want to eat up all the service work. That's selfish. The whole point of the grassroots meeting was so that Dion didn't do everything anymore. That's the whole point. It's not Dion's grassroots meeting. It's not. I did start it, but I was only able to start it because I had people in my life like you. So see, it doesn't work unless there's a group. Right? So if a group of doctors possessed a cancer cure, they might be conscience-stricken if they failed their mission through self-seeking. Yet such a failure wouldn't jeopardize their personal survival. For us, if we neglect those who are still sick, there is unremitting danger to our own lives and sanity. Here we are again. If you are just sitting around waiting for people to do this and do that, Okay. And I'm not talking about sponsorship in that case. You know, it's like there's a person in the group and he calls me default. and he gave me that name because if nobody's doing it, I'm default. And I don't mind. I put myself in that position. I knew what I was getting into. But it's that unremitting danger, right? Amber says that she does service, stay happy, joyous, and free. Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. I mean, you get past the, well, if it's kind of going from, okay, now I got to do service work because it keeps me sober, right? But then we go from a have to a want to. I can't tell you how many times somebody is chaired for the first time. They're, oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And then they do it and they're like, oh, I want to chair again. Aha. Oh, okay. There's an awesome feeling knowing that, and when you're chairing a meeting and you're newer at doing it, if somebody's new, get your fucking hands up. Get your hands up, support them in what they're doing, and do the best that you can. And I'm saying that in general. Everybody here raised their hands. Grassroots is great for that. See, we got to support the chairperson too, right? And there I am, default. So what I do is when the meeting starts and I'm not chairing, if nobody else is raising their hand, then I raise their hand to help it get started because people don't want to be first. I understand why. A lot of times people want to talk after they hear other people talking to help them give them ideas what they want to say and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So under these compulsions of self-preservation, duty, and love, it is not strange to say it is not strange that our society has concluded that it has but one high mission: to carry the AA message to those who do not know there's a way out. Yeah. I don't know why this is popping into my head, but Amber, those grassroots that you gave me, I put them in the literature rack for when we go to community and then somebody can grab it and yeah. So I figure I'd put it to good use for you. Highlighting the wisdom of AA single purpose, a member tells this story. The story is pretty funny, but it kind of concludes. It's going to kind of conclude. Well, maybe. Restless one day, I felt I better do some 12-step work. Maybe I could take out some insurance against a slip, but at first I'd have to find a drunk to work on. I believe that this is Dr. Bob. And the reason that I say that is it says, to take out some insurance against a slip. Well, that's exactly what he says in Dr. Bob's Nightmare. So I'm assuming, though, I do not know that for sure. But Dr. Bob was a little more straightforward than Bill. Bill was a little fluffier about, he liked his adjectives, where Dr. Bob was, okay, Bill, and this was the last thing he said to Bill, okay, Bill, let's keep this simple. Let's not louse it up. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Yeah. All right. So I hopped the subway to Towns Hospital where I asked Dr. Silkworth if he had a prospect. But then Dr. Silkworth shows up. So maybe it is Bill. I don't know. There's just one doctor, nothing too promising, the little doc said. There's just one chap on the third floor. And, I think it's funny that he said the little doc said. Bill was like 5'2", 120 pounds. Okay. He wasn't a big man. He wasn't a very big man. What did I say? Yes, I meant grapevine. I'm not sure what I said. I probably said grassroots because it's got the GRA So, yes, I did mean grapevine. Good catch. And thank you. There's just one chap on the third floor who might be a possibility, but he's an awfully. Well, I still got him. I'm still going to read him. I'm just saying it's with that. Of course, I'm reading them. But I will read them all the way through before I put them in the rack. I did get a little ahead of myself. There was just one chap on the third floor who might be a possible, but he's an awfully tough Irishman. I never saw a man so obstinate. He shouts that if his partner would treat him better. Man, I don't know what that was. Okay. And his wife would leave him alone. He'd soon solve his alcohol problem. He's had a bad case of DTs. He's pretty foggy, and he's very suspicious of everybody. Doesn't sound good, does it? Too good, does it? But working with him may do something for you. So why don't you have a go at it? I was soon sitting beside a big hulk of a man, decidedly unfriendly. He stared at me of eyes which were slits in his red and swollen face. I had to agree with the doctor. He certainly didn't look good. But I told him my own story. I explained what a wonderful fellowship we had, how we understood each other. I bore down on the hopelessness of the drunk's dilemma. I insisted that few drunks could get well on their own steam, but that in our groups we could do together what we could not do separately. He interrupted to scoff at this and asserted he'd fix his wife, his partner, as an alcoholism by himself. Sarcastically, he said, "How much does your scheme cost?" I want to point something out here. All right. It says, I insisted that few drunks got well. What do we always try to see? This is where one of the things where what my point is this was the theory. See how we have the same thought process now. We are not any smarter, more intelligent than they were 90 years ago. It doesn't work that fast. And I have never met anyone who is smarter than alcohol. I've never met anyone. Nope. Not even Albert Einstein. No, not smarter. Benjamin Franklin. No. No. How much does your scheme cost? Now, if this was essential, remember I was just saying begging for money. Well, just imagine what you'd have to say now. Well, we need you in the group because we need more money. I'm sorry, but that's the way it feels nowadays. I was thankful I could tell him nothing at all. His next question, what are you getting out of it? Of course, my answer was my own sobriety and a mighty happy life. Still dubious, he demanded. Do you really mean the only reason you are here is to try and help me and help yourself? We alcoholics are very, very suspicious. And we're very good at figuring out where the con is, too. Yeah. I'm not saying we don't get duped, but not like other people. Right? We just know bullshit when we see it. And they could even be stating facts and everything. And we'd be like, yeah, something ain't right here. Yes, I said that's absolutely all there is to it. There's no angle. Then hesitantly, I ventured to talk about the spiritual side of our program. What a freeze that drunk gave me. I'd no sooner got the word spiritual out of my mouth than he pounced. Oh, he said, now I get it. You're prophesizing for some damn religion, sect or other. Where do you get that no angle stuff? I belong to a great church. That means everything to me. You got nerve coming in here talking religion. Right? Now, of course, this tough, obstinate Irishman isn't listening. He didn't say religious. He said spiritual. Okay. It is the biggest misnomer of AA that we are a religious program. We are not a religious program. What's the other one? That we are a cult. And I got such a great answer for that now. It's a joke. Okay. How do you know AA is not a cult? Because people in cults do what they're told. And it's true. It's funny, but it makes it true. What's the third biggest thing people say about AA? That we brainwash people. Goes with the cult thing. You know, that part's true. That part's true. We do brainwash people. We need it. Free doll hairs. Nothing like some free doll hairs, right? Oh, this is kind of cool. This is put out by the Chicago Area Service Office. See, these people are doing. Maybe I ought to call the Chicago service area and say, "Hey, what are you guys up to?" I'm also going to list this in the Boulder DACA on the list for AA meetings for Boulder too, because we're kind of close, and I'm going to talk to them about in-person 12-step work for the new detox, because the other one just, they don't do nothing, right? So anyway, you got a nerve coming in here talking religion. Thank heaven I came up with the right answer for that one. It was based foursquare on the single purpose of AA. You have faith, I said, perhaps far deeper faith than mine. No doubt you're better taught in religious matters than I. So I can't tell you anything about religion. I don't even want to try. I'll bet too that you could give me a letter perfect definition of humility. But from what you had told me about yourself and your problems and how you propose to lick them, I think I know what's wrong. This is probably my favorite part of the 12 by 12, because he just shoves it right in his face, and it's hilarious. Okay, he said, give me the business. Well, I said, I think you're just a conceited Irishman who thinks he can run the whole show. See, we get to say things that other people can't. Doctors, therapists, oh, they would just fire you for that. But considering that you're giving me really nothing, I can say those things. I can get away. There are certain things I get to say because I am a recovered alcoholic. Other people do not get to say them. It's quite often that I will talk to a professional. They're like, okay, what's one thing you can talk about that I can't? And this is always my first answer: God. And then I shut up because I want to see their reaction. It's always, okay, what's another one? Because, see, I'm right. Well, I have experience. You don't. You don't know you don't know how it feels to be an alcoholic, but I do. And I solved it. I'm living proof that it can be done. You're educated. I've got both. You cannot outdo me in this area. This is my area, right? Now, that does not mean that we do not need the professionals. We do. We do. So a conceited Irishman who runs the whole show, this really rocked him. But as he calmed down, he began to listen while I tried to show him that humility was the main key to sobriety. Finally, he saw I wasn't attempting him to change his religious views, that I wanted him to find the grace in his own religion that would aid his recovery. From there, we got along fine. Isn't that cool? Now, this coming from anybody else besides an alcoholic is a confrontation. It is a fight. Well, it's a fight, not a confrontation. There's nothing wrong with confrontation. In this case, it was just fact. Why could he say that? Because they too were a conceited whatever race who thought he could run the whole show. That's why he could say it. Yep. Because he's the same way. So he wasn't even confronting him. He was telling on himself more than anything. All right. Now concludes the old timer. Suppose I've been obliged to talk to this man on religious grounds. Suppose my answer had to be that AA needed a lot of money, that AA went for education, hospitals, and rehabilitation. Suppose I suggested that I take a hand in his domestic that I take a hand in his domestic and business affairs. Where would we have wound up? No place, of course. Years later, this tough Irish customer liked to say, my sponsor sold me on one idea, and that was sobriety. At the time, I couldn't have bought anything else. They also gave us, okay, remember earlier when I was talking about how sponsorship started and what true sponsorship is. He went to Towns Hospital. He talked to Dr. Silkworth. He talked to this man, and then he became his sponsor, and he sponsored him into the AA. They literally just said it. Otherwise, we're closed mouth friends. It should be so-and-so is my closed mouth friend. I don't know how I got switched. Amber says, my alcoholism. Yeah, you get to talk about your own alcoholism. That's the biggest difference. Absolutely. Even if they can't talk about it really. Yeah. Because they're getting paid. Money sets an expectation, and the alcoholic knows that. Even when I was getting paid, I would talk about God here and there. But it didn't seem right. Yeah. All right. Got a meeting in 42 minutes. We'll see how it goes today. A lot of wins. And Amber, thank you for that, by the way. That was neat. I got a message, Amber had sent it my way. I got a message from somebody, and actually it's a very great question. The question was, what do I need to do to make Grassroots my home group? All right. And I'm going to give you the answer to that. All you need to do is just claim that. All you need to do is say it's my home group, and it is. There's no other requirement. And then they were like, and I want to get into service work. So I listed all the different service work that they qualify for right now. And we have a lot. Yeah. But it is neat to start hearing those questions. Every day I keep hearing about Grassroots, and then somebody called me and they're saying, Dion, I don't know what it is about Grassroots, but all the other meetings suck now. Pretty much what they said. I'm like, I'm sorry. Kind of. And a lot of people are saying, thank you for starting it, and you're welcome. But I got to admit, I started it for me because I needed a home group. Grassroots is my home group. I go to some other meetings now, but mostly I just go to Grassroots. Yeah. Yeah. It. That's what Amber says. It. Lord knows what I was saying to get that response. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. So, and Eric has one more thing. Out of all my therapists, the one that was in the program was my least favorite. That's actually not surprising. That's actually not surprising because they didn't know whether they should be your therapist or your sponsor. It's a hard line to walk. I can't do it. All right. So peace out. I love you. Peace out. And have a day.